Hello everyone. I know a lot of you have been wondering where's the Reichenbach challenge videos, and given that this is the last day of the event, I'm guessing that you have figured out that I'm probably not going to be doing any videos on the topic, and the reason for that is, I was just busy and I ran out of time, so sorry about that. Wish I could have done videos on the challenges because I do think they were pretty interesting this time. In replacement, this is just me trying something out. Maybe I'll just talk about what I would in theory do for this map, because this final map, I think it actually is very possible to beat using SR characters. And the thing is that when I make SR clears, I kind of figure that people, I do it more as an entertainment video more than a guide, because I know most people don't exclusively use SRs, or rather almost nobody does that. I think only, I pretty much only do it as a fun video and kind of a proof that it can be done sort of thing. So in this case, this fight was really annoying, but the thing is that the cheese strategy that I think a lot of people ended up using was to just use Emmerich to lock the guy down. And of course, Emmerich is an SR character anyway, so I would probably just pretty much adapt that into a strategy that has SR characters. The thing is that when you lock this guy down so that he can't move around the map, this map kind of becomes a very straightforward DPS check, DPS and HP check. You want enough DPS to beat the guy, you want enough DPS to kill the ads so they don't overwhelm you, and you want your HP to be high enough so you don't die from whatever hits you have to take. Because if you if you lock the guy down with Emmerich, there's basically no RNG aspects to this fight anymore. So the characters you would probably, or I would probably use are, of course, you would have Emmerich here. I would probably bring Matthew. Matthew is always good. Attack command, and he does good damage. Instead of Flyer Matthew, ideally a Cavalry Matthew would actually be a lot better here. And the reason for that is not just because that Cavalry is useful on this map, because of Shalinka being one of the ads, and you would be able to have class advantage against her, but the bigger reason I think is because the Cavalry Matthew has move again. And that's actually very important. Since Gizarov can walk through your characters, what you would want is DPS that can hit Gizarov, and when the ads are getting close to you, you can run them out, hit the ad, and ideally kill them in one hit, and then run back to Gizarov so you can surround him again. So for that reason, Matthew would be really good for this fight. Another DPS that would be really good for this fight is actually Sonya. So Sonya doesn't have move again, but her talent says if she kills someone, she can move again 3 blocks. So that's pretty much the same, honestly, because it's, a well-built Sonya should have no problem one-shotting these ads. So you kill the ad, you run back to Gizarov. It shouldn't be a problem. Another character that I actually think would surprisingly be very good here is Altina. So the reason I say Altina would be good here is Altina's talent, defense and mag defense down, actually stacks with normal debuffs. So you can place her here in the team somehow, and you'll be able to apply her talent to Gizarov every turn. And of course, she would also be able to deal damage to Gizarov. You can give her the range staff. She'll be able to stand out of range of Gizarov and attack him. Alternatively, you can also run Altina around. She has high movement. You can run her around and kill the ads. And since in this case you're using Emmerich, plus probably Sonya and possibly Altina, you would actually just bring Lance as well. Lance, of course, is the Empire buff, and all of those characters are Empire. One of the great things about Lance is, of course, that he also has Defense Intimidate, which is also very nice. You would probably place him in his Cavalry class, much like the other characters that I talked about. Parn, I used Parn here in my own clear, when I cleared it on my own as well, but Parn does not have a move again skill after attacking, so he actually wouldn't be very good for killing the ads. And that's pretty much it. And this lady right here, okay, this Almeida that you are given, she can clear like all the fog terrain, and it says that if she gets up to 10 stacks, or she moves up to 10 spaces, she will start inflicting stun on one random party member every turn. And some people think this might be an RNG aspect, but it really isn't, because if you bring any good healer, in this case I would recommend Almeida. If you bring Almeida with Forest Priest, and this free Almeida stuns one of your characters, you can just remove the stun. And you might be thinking, oh well, what if Almeida gets stunned? Well, that's why you just equip the Angel Feather accessory, and then she won't get stunned. And Angel Feather is really good here anyway, because you're probably going to want, your healers are probably going to get hit by something at some point. So having some extra survivability is very useful there. In this case, I actually think Chris would be really bad here, because people who have done this challenge probably know this guy inflicts heal reversal. And if you decide to do the surround him strategy, if you place Chris on one of those tiles, she's gonna get heal reversed a lot, and she's gonna hurt your team a lot. So I would not use Chris if I was gonna do an SR clear of this map. So like I said, it would probably be like Lance over here, Sonya over here. You got Emmerich. Matthew can stay. Matthew has attack command and he's fine. So I think Almeida would be a really great healer here. I in fact use Almeida in my own personal clear of this map as well. And the reason for that is, much like all the other final boss challenges, this boss is susceptible to attack and defense and damage mod debuffs. So, they always give these final bosses like silence immunity, fixed damage immunity, and all heal block immunity, all the really, really good immunities to give it to them, but they don't give them the attack and defense immunity. So that's what makes Almeida still really good in PvE, because when you think of some debuff spammers in PvP like Bozel or like Ren or even Reen, it's like they do debuffs that mostly get immunized against in these really strong boss fights. But Almeida doesn't have that problem. Her debuff pool is pretty much purely the type of debuffs you would want to stick onto a boss fight like this, which is why Almeida is always so good. I still think Almeida is really, really good in PvE. And of course, with Forest Priest, you would be able to remove a lot of the debuffs, a lot of the tricky debuffs you run into in these situations. Sophia here would be if you decided you didn't want to bring Lance. You don't want to buff Empire because Lance kind of sucks. So Sophia is the Omni buff, but you could alternatively also replace Sophia with Altina, as I mentioned, and Altina would be able to kill the ads. She would debuff Azeroth even further. I think people really underestimate how good attack and defense debuffs are in these final challenges or these really hard PvE fights. They really do make them significantly easier. And that's really all I gotta say. Like I said, removing the need to chase this guy around really just turns this into a very straightforward fight. So at that point, it would basically just be a stat check. I don't have my Emmerich stoned, I don't have my Sonya stoned, and as you can see, my Altina hasn't even been classed up at all. So I don't know if I would have been able to clear it even if I had the time to make a video. But I just think it would have been fun. I just thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about what I would have done. So hopefully this video was at least a little bit interesting to listen to. Sorry I couldn't get a video out, but I just ran out of time. Maybe next time, hopefully next time I'll be able to make more videos. See you guys.